Welcome back to EHC Unfiltered, the show where we talk about the stuff most people clean up before they hit record. Today's guest is one of my favorite people. I actually met him just in the last year, my friend Dylan. You can
Brother,
find
what's
him
up?
on Instagram. What's going on, brother? But you can find him on Instagram at dylan.bentley.ganser. And that will be in the description at the end of this episode. Don't worry. But here's how we met. For those that don't know, November 2025, I fly down to Miami to walk in Men's Fashion Week, my first runway ever, right? I land. I don't know a soul in the city. I don't know where I'm going. I'm walking around with my bag. Jordan, who we will talk about as well, was
Yeah.
actually supposed to pick me up and was not there.
I had
But
just
di-
arrived.
yeah, you just got there too. But you were the first person, to link up with me. So
We had
we
a good
grabbed
hour or
lunch.
so by ourselves.
Yeah, we went and got lunch. I think we started shopping too before
Yeah, we
we met
did.
up with
Yeah.
them.
We
Maybe
got
it
some
was
shirts.
around that time.
We got white shirts, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we needed some clothes. But
That was fun. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we found out we're both from upstate New York, or at least I am at the moment. All of the models in Miami, I'm rooming with a guy from a couple hours away, which is pretty cool.
Especially smallest place in the fucking world.
Yeah, right. But 4 weeks earlier, I had never even considered modeling personally, and now I'm backstage staring down a tunnel of lights. But today, we're going to get into all of it. All right. So, what it's actually like walking in your first runway, what happens to your confidence, your identity when you step into a world that you've never planned on personally. I never thought it was going to be a thing
Yeah.
for me. And, we're going to talk about how Dylan balances being a teacher, working the nightlife as, bartender, whatever it is you're doing now, working at a club.
Yeah.
Uh, and also chasing some bigger things, right? Without losing yourself.
I'm saying that's the fight. It's not losing yourself in this shit.
It really is. But we're going to talk about something that we both lived through from different angles, our experiences with the Mixon Method, the agency that brought both of us into this industry. And Dylan was released from the agency. And then a couple months later, I chose to end my own relationship with it. We're going to walk through what happened from each of our perspectives, what was communicated, where it broke down, the boundaries we set, and how some of those boundaries were received. So,
Yes. That's the way
a
to put it.
quick note. I think so. But a quick note before we start, everything that you're about to hear is our firsthand experience and our honest perspective. We are not here to speculate about anyone's intentions. We are here to tell you what happened to us, what it felt like, and what we learned. And if you're an aspiring model, stick around because the back half of this episode might save you a contract that you might regret. So, one more thing, if anything in this episode hits home and you want help building yourself back up physically, mentally, DM me the word unfiltered on Instagram at EHC_Steven for an exclusive coaching deal only for listeners of this episode. But all right, Dylan, welcome to the show, brother. I'm glad to have you here.
I haven't seen each other since fucking Miami.
Yeah, and that was back in November. Let's talk about that a little bit. Take me back to Miami.
That was actually my first time in Miami ever, too. Was that yours or no?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I might have gone on like a cruise out of
Something like
Florida
that.
at some point, but yeah, I never made an actual trip to Miami or anything. What do you remember?
I mean, I'm pretty sure I drove down or flew in. I forget
You had
exactly.
your car.
Yeah, so I did drive. I drove down because I have flew down later that month.
Mm.
Drove in, was in downtown. We were in at Brickell. Where were we at? Some art Wynwood. We were in Wynwood.
Yep.
So I'm driving around trying to find a jacked bald guy that I've never met with blue eyes. And I can't find him. Finally pull up to him. We got some type of burrito bowl. We waited for
Yeah, we
Joey to
found some
come,
random
Luis to
place.
come. It was only us four, right? And then
Yeah,
Jordan,
and
of
then
course.
and then Jordan.
And we had a cool little semi-ghetto, nice apartment, complex thing we stayed in. Super artsy though. It was super cool. First initial thought, I was like, damn, this place is totally different than Jacksonville, Florida. Jacksonville, Florida is like the mini Miami of like wannabe, like what Miami is. Because Jacksonville's growing and we're bigger than Miami, but it's not Miami from what I learned. Everyone was super cool down there. We actually met a lot of cool ass people down there. We made a lot of connections, especially you. You made for my technically second runway, but it was my first one. And your first ever runway, I think, for first timers because of how we got trained by shout out Chance Gwen. We really knew how to walk and at least be prepared. Like I don't think any of our walks were perfect per se, but I don't think anyone could tell it was our first walk, which I think for us was our goal. So
Absolutely. But what was your what was your read on me the first time we met and hung out? Because we had talked a little bit like over text
yeah.
messages and
Yeah.
DMs and stuff.
You were super easy going over there, and I feel like it didn't even, like, skip a drum. Like, I feel like we talked the most on that trip in general. Like, I feel like we, like, were, like, hand in hand the whole time, and, like, it just felt like I already knew you, so it was pretty nice, I'm not gonna lie, and I don't think either of us have a hard time talking to people, so when you get 2 people like that together, it was easy, and I think we literally hung out the rest of the weekend together, so.
Yeah, I mean, we basically did. It
You were my
was
roommate
I
too.
think yeah, I think I got lucky 'cause, landing alone, knowing nobody, you being
Yeah,
the first person that shows up, I think kinda broke the ice on Miami the right way.
and the energy, like,
Yeah,
not being by yourself.
exactly, and then not having to drag my bag around anymore, but
Yes, yes,
yeah,
really.
the instant ease of, that friendship was just something that really stuck, and I introduced you to fucking falling asleep with rain sounds on,
Yeah.
and
Well, that changed my life because 'cause I'm a fan guy, but Brain Sounds was nice. We slept good.
I remember that because, like, the first night I was like, "Are you cool with this?" And you were like, "Yeah, I guess, whatever." And the
Yeah.
next night you were like, "Can we do that again?"
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, "I need that shit." That room
But
was there was, like, no AC in that bitch.
yeah, it was rough. Well, because I think it was a lot colder out in, like, the living room where the actual, like, AC was, and so they, like, turned off the AC or turned it down, and so we were fucking dying.
Down. Yeah. 2 big dudes in a bed
But
died. Like
yeah, right. But, I think the odds are crazy, 2 guys from upstate New
Yeah.
York, even though I'm new, I'm coming up on 2 years being up here now, but, you know, like, what are the odds? 2 guys from upstate New York sharing an Airbnb room in Miami, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
like, shout out Auburn, New York, and Syracuse. Because that's where I used to live back and forth, and I was born there, and I moved pretty early, but I ended up moving back and forth a couple times, but, like, surprisingly, people from upstate New York travel, and they go around. Like, I have met people out. Actually, there's a lot of people from Jacksonville. And I don't know how far you are from Auburn. You're probably like an hour, right?
I'm pretty yeah, I'm a good little drive
Yeah, hour and a
because
half. How far are you from
yeah,
Rochester,
I'm like I would have to check, but I'm closer to, like,
Canada?
Canada's major cities than any American major cities.
That's
Like,
so
I'm
funny.
I'm like an hour and a half to 2 hours away from Ottawa, Montreal, and Kingston, but I'm not allowed in Canada.
Damn, that would be amazing if you were.
That would be great,
In
but
the
I'm just
future.
stuck here.
In the future.
Well, you know what I just remembered too? That first day that we linked up when we were waiting for Joey to come back, when we were just in the parking garage. Do you remember that car accident that almost happened?
Yo, bro, yeah, that's when I knew my man was about it too. Good, and I was like, so some background. If you can't tell, Steve's a big dude, and he was a Marine. I was like, oh no, Steve was gonna pull this man out of his car and end his life. Luckily, Steven was fucking super, super calm. Walked over, was protecting a female who was getting her kind of harassed. She was just getting yelled at, really. But you just don't yell at a female like that in a parking garage. And Steven went over there and calmed me down.
Yeah, my perspective of it was basically like these 2 cars almost collided head to head, and then, the usual, they start throwing up fingers and yelling at each other, whatever. But the girl went and parked, and then, like, I'm still watching, and the guy in whatever it was, whatever muscle car, it was either like a
Yeah.
Camaro or something like
Charger?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might have been a Charger, but he parked behind her, like, blocked her in so that she couldn't get
Yes.
out and was, like,
Yes.
screaming at her out of the window,
Top of the
and
lungs.
so yeah, I walked over, and I remember, like, you and Jordan were both like, "No, no, 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 no," and I was like, "Yes."
Yeah. I remember I'm trailing behind you because you got right out of there. So I'm trailing behind you and you get over there and the guy shut up so quick.
Dude, I didn't even do anything. I just like leaned down and I was like, "Are we good here?" And he was like, she did this and that." And I was like, "I saw everything." And I was like, "But nothing happened. Like
Yeah.
everyone's good,
Go
and
home.
you're not gonna block her in this spot right now." And I was like, "Just carry on." And he did. It was as
She
simple
was
as
very
that.
thankful. She was super thankful.
Yeah, and dude, that kinda stuff is crazy. I see videos of, like, shit going down online all the time, and I'm like, "Why am I never there?" Well, I'm
Yeah.
never in the spot for these things. I guess that time I was, so
I feel like we both have the little trait of like it's like a superhero syndrome of wanting to calm people down and fix shit. Man, especially at the club, like whenever there's a damn fight, like I'm for some reason always trying to help.
well, it's like, that's our job, right, as men, I
Right.
think, is, we should be de-escalating situations as much as possible, and then if you can't de-escalate the situation, you remove the threat.
Yeah.
It's that easy.
That's the way you put it. Yeah.
But that was how we started. That was our first day in
Together.
Miami. Yeah, that's wild.
What day did we go out in Wynwood together? Was that first or second?
That was after that was after the runway, right? No? No.
No, because you know what was funny, and we're kind of skipping ahead, but we get to the runway, right? We get our group. We end up meeting Emmanuel, who's the shit.
Mhm.
And we ended up meeting a couple other people from the Mixon Method that Jordan created. And remember the makeup we couldn't get off?
Yep.
That's
Did I
because
sh
so we did
did
go out
I
the first night, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because it was the second night that I couldn't get the makeup off, I think. Because I
Yes, I
remember because
remember.
I had to fly home with it. And I was, like,
Yeah,
walking through the airport with fucking eyeliner and shit on.
most intimidating blue eyes guy they've ever seen with fucking
Yeah,
dark
dude.
side on him.
Put some fucking eyeliner on me and that shit pops.
Yeah,
I don't know what kinda Russian makeup they put on me, 'cause
it was a
it was
Russian girl
from
too.
that's why I said it. But
Yeah.
it was her personal makeup that she used, because initially she was, like, only supposed to be doing, like, eyebrows or something like that,
Yes.
but
Yes. Same woman. I think they
I
got
had
him.
yeah, but I had, like, back-to-back walks that I had to do, so I literally, like, walked the first time, came back, and then was like, "Hey, the next guy doesn't want me to have makeup on." And so
Yeah.
they were, like, scrubbing my eyeballs, and I have a weird thing with my eyes anyway, so, like, as they're getting close to my eyes, like, my eyes start watering, and so I have one girl, like, holding my eye open, one girl, like, scrubbing it with this thing, and another girl, like, fanning my eyes.
He's just here.
I
He's just
was
here.
I was a center of attention, just gotta be. But, let's back it up a little bit before we jump all the
Get
way
over
into
there.
that.
Yeah.
Neither of us woke up one day wanting to be models, right?
Mhm.
And for me, it's still not necessarily the top of my list, but how did this even start for you?
So I moved down to Jacksonville like 2 years ago, maybe two in a couple months now. I was a bouncer at this place called Ritz, it's a beach bar, and I just needed a side job, right? Like I have a lot of side jobs. And everyone kept saying, "Oh, do you model? Do you model?" And I'm like, this must be like a Florida thing. There must be a lot of models around. And then I'm thinking another job at Decca, and this woman, and I was a bartender at Dua. And then I'll tell you that's why I'm important. She's like, "Do you want to do this modeling gig with Brand Elite Models?" I was like, "Sure." Her name was Tiffany, and it was like a paid gig. It was cool. All I had to do was be a nice spokesperson at this car show. And they paid free drinks. It was a great time. And then I was like, "This is cool. This is what modeling is, I guess." I was bartending one day, and Jordan's cousin, his name is Raphael, very well known guy out here. He's awesome, super cool, well connected. You'll probably meet him if you come down here. He's like, "Yo, I heard you're a model." I was like, "I'm trying." He's like, "I have a guy for you." And that is how I met Jordan. And then he kind of broke down every step of what, like, I will say more runway is, right? But he also
Mhm.
broke down in general what you need as a model, like comp card, digitals, different looks, and all that shit. And I will say, not to jump ahead too much, but if you're an aspiring model, get your digitals, create a comp card, which takes a little bit of time, right? Get your get a good foundation. Because if you don't have a foundation, you can't submit yourself. And from what I've been
Mhm.
hearing from now doing model for a year and a half now, like they are sick of people submitting things without a foundation. So,
Yep, and I was one of those people, realistically, that didn't really have the foundation until, after that first runway, and I had to do I think the week before I had come down and did a shoot with Jordan.
yes.
and got some good pictures there. But that was my first time ever doing anything modeling related. And I could tell like the difference the designers could see between because not only the designers that were in the show, but there's designers in the crowd that are coming backstage like afterwards and talking to people. And like there's people in the industry are always scouting, right?
Yes.
Whether they're designers or photographers or like makeup artists, even like everyone is connected. It's a big spider web of connections.
Yes.
And when you are, especially a new model who shows up with a full model bag and you have your comp cards and you're handing out your comp cards to people
Yes.
and you're
Which
talking to
I would have never
people.
thought about.
Me neither. I would have just shown up and, did my thing and talked to people, whatever.
So again, on a
And
good note for Jordan and Chance for telling us about that.
yeah, absolutely. Cause we definitely, I think we're,
Newbies.
well, absolutely we were new, but I think we were some of the most well prepared models there.
Doubt.
Um, I would say 80% of the stuff in my model bag I never touched, but I could definitely see where could have been needed, you know?
Yes. Yep.
It just so happened that I didn't that time.
My second runway, guess what? Every single
Needed all
thing
that
didn't
shit.
get touched. Every single thing didn't get touched. It was a lot smaller in essence of like people wise. So I'm actually walking again, maybe for them on August 1st in Fort Lauderdale, but everything boots. Like I
Mhm.
bro, we didn't really have to share a lot of our stuff this time, like black underwear with no label, the socks, the low cut socks, the different colored boots, different color shoes. I had to help share my shit with people the next show just because I was trying to be nice.
I actually had to share my boots with someone at the first show just
Okay.
because they were like someone was running around asking for a pair of boots or a pair of black shoes. I don't remember which it was, but I was like, I got them. Just make sure I get them back,
Yeah.
which I did, which was
Yeah.
surprising. I was like, this is a 50-50 shot on if I ever see these again, probably.
Yeah. Anyway.
But, that just goes to show like people that have done it before still aren't necessarily prepared if they don't have that proper direction. And I, at no point, felt unprepared for anything that happened back there.
No,
You
yeah.
know,
It was literally just like on us to be communicative.
yeah, which
That
is
was the
awesome.
only
And
part.
as far as like you mentioned, the like labelless black underwear, that's the only reason that I got to do my first walk. I walked for
Yes.
yeah,
Otavia or
nope, that was the second one. It was yep, it was Karan or Karan. I'm not sure how he
K-Ron. I think
pronounces
my
it, but
K-Ron.
yeah, he was looking for someone, and I barely fit into that robe. My
Yeah.
shoulders and arms were about to tear through that thing.
We had some bright gold robe and I had the shortest shorts ever.
But they wanted so the pants, I was supposed to wear the pants with it,
Yeah.
and I couldn't get them past my knees. I was like, my legs I was like, "I don't know whose waist this is for, but it's not mine."
Yeah.
And I could tell he was like disappointed. He was like, "Man, like, I'm gonna have to find someone else." And I just looked at him and I was like, "I'll walk out there without pants." I was like, "It's a robe. It makes sense." And I was
Yeah.
like, "I have nice legs."
Yeah. Show them off.
Yeah, and he was like, "Do you have, like, a label on your underwear?" And I was like, "Nope." And he was like, "And you're sure you're comfortable with it?" And I was like, "Let's do it."
And I was
And
like one of the
so
few designers that would ask if we're comfortable. Like the
yeah,
rest would be
well,
like,
I
yeah, where?
yeah, there's definitely some that'll just tell you to wear it and get over it, but even Dope Tavio, who I walked for next, I think he was
Oh
literally
yeah.
right after, that was the one where I was wearing a thong,
That
and
oh wow, that was you killed the look though. Like, yeah, fit for some reason that just fit like your look and aesthetic. It was like meant for you.
I mean, I've gotten plenty of comments and compliments on it, so but it was well, because that was the one he wanted me to wear. That was, like, his vision for the outfit, right? But he gave me the option. He was like, "I do have, like, a pair of black shorts that you could wear," and I was like, "It doesn't fit, like, the image," kinda like you
Yeah.
were saying. But I definitely did not expect to have my bare white ass cheeks out on the runway the first
That
time I was
early.
out there.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when you're new in the industry, you gotta kinda prove that you're
Willing.
down to do some stuff, you know?
I felt that too because obviously I was a teacher. I'm a teacher last year, and I walked for a guy, their awesome group, and they asked me to wear a thong or what do you call those?
It was,
Just
like a Speedo or something?
Speedo. And one of them had a huge hole on the ass. And I've never worn a Speedo in my life, so I don't really know how to put this on if it's the right way. So I'm in the changing room. Mind you, it's men and women. So I'm in there trying
Mhm.
to put my shit away, trying to tuck it in for this Speedo. And
I
I'm
just
in
got
there.
naked.
Yeah. And I was like, this is like, I was like, okay, I'm like, this isn't working. And then in my head, I'm like, I don't want my students to see this. So I went back and Jordan had already prepared us for like, if you do not want to wear something, you just need to be very respectful about it. So I went up to them and I was like, hey, awesome look. I can't wear this personally because I feel like it kind of is not an image I want my students to see me in. And like, oh, we're teachers too. I was like, oh, so you guys get it? Like, I totally get it if you don't want me to walk for you. He was like, nope, wear these bright orange pants with this crazy open circle orange vest. I was like, cool. The look would have been fire if it was not for the bright ass makeup. I look like like the orange got printed on my face. That
Do
was a
you think
rough look.
so? I
I
will say
think the fit was awesome.
from an outside perspective, I don't remember your makeup being crazy any which way. So I remember mine
I
because it wouldn't
appreciate
come
that.
off.
Yes.
But
I
but
was
alright,
so bright faced.
what did your friends and family and students and stuff say when they found out that you were starting to model?
So I live with my little cousins, they're like my little sisters, right? So they're my best and worst enemies of all time. And when I came home, they're like, "You looked really good, but like the makeup didn't look good." And I was like, ah, "It is what it is." And they always love the fits or they hate the fits. They're so brutally honest. It's funny. Students loved it. Students make jokes about it all the time, and because if you just know how to handle it, like it's not bad jokes, like just laugh with them,
Mhm.
let them laugh. They're gonna see it. Social media. One time, do you remember the yellow kilt?
Yes. Yes,
So
I
that was
do.
my favorite look that weekend. And the yellow kilt, a kid printed it out and asked me to sign it before he moved. So that is one of my favorite stories to this day.
That's pretty cool. I think my favorite is, the background or in the, like, backstage, I was handing out my, like, model cards, yeah,
Yeah.
and it was who was it? Let me see if I have him here. It was, like, the lead on I don't think I have him tagged. Oh, that's my bad. But he was the lead, like, for hair and makeup. I can't remember his name.
Mino or
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah.
He
Cool guy.
wanted one. He was like, "Yeah, he's great. I love him." But he was like, "I want one." And I was like, "You want me to sign it for you too?" Like, joking around, and he was like, "Yeah, I'll put it on my fridge."
Yes.
And
I actually kind of remember
I
that.
yeah, I signed it backstage, and then I started, like there was, like, all the hair and makeup girls that were, like, having me sign the thing. It was so funny.
He was a cool guy. His whole team
But
was cool though.
but he sent me a picture afterwards, like, I was actually on his fridge, at least for a period of time after that, and I was like, "That's so cool."
That's cool shit. I'm not gonna lie.
But especially, like, never having considered modeling before, it's a
It's
very surreal experience,
It gets you on a high.
so but yeah, even just getting signed realistically, like,
Yeah.
when Jordan offered it to me, or, like, said he wanted me to be one of his models, I was like I told him, I was like, "I don't know if I have the bandwidth for something like that right now with me trying to build, EHC and build my coaching business and everything." I was like, "It's a lot, and I'm very far away, and it's very difficult to get anywhere from here."
They do not have models up there really.
Yeah, like, it's like, if I could go to Montreal or something like that, then, like, I would have much more options, but like I said, not allowed in Canada. But yeah, it's a cool $1,000 just for me to go to Miami
Right.
and back, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's it.
And yeah, and that's, like, just for, like, plane tickets and getting there, that's just travel, that's not to mention any food, like, stuff like that, so and
Oh,
especially when you're
unfortunately.
doing yeah, and especially when you're doing unpaid gigs, like, that's
Which we
all out
should
of
yeah.
pocket.
That is the truest if you are a model and you think you're going to make money right off the bat, you're not delusional, right? Because it's a good goal, but it's not realistic.
Right.
And Runway is
That's
not a money maker. It is not.
no, Runway is advertising.
Connections.
I think yeah, all of the money is in, like, editorial work, I would say.
Yeah. and like commercial
And
work.
unless, I mean, obviously there are like the yeah, and like the top of the line runway models are very different.
Let's have female
If
one called Angels, like those that group of people. Like there are, but same time.
yeah, and that's like if if a des don't get me wrong, like if a designer likes you enough, they will make you one of theirs and they will either, you know, pay for you to fly out there or pay for your accommodations or something like that or split it with you, you know, like those things do happen. The likelihood of it happening off the bat, slim to none.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was my first response to him when he reached out was that I didn't think I was gonna have the bandwidth, and especially learning to actually model, like, I don't know how to pose, you know what I mean? And that was something about the runway that we did together, for Florida Men's Fashion Week that I loved was that they decided to do more of a European style, and so the posing was very minimal, if any.
Simple.
I love that so much. I was like, "Thank God." I was like, "I didn't have to pose. I just had to walk out there, stand there for a sec, you know, angle a little bit maybe, and keep on going."
Yep.
But considering what I do for work, considering, you know, the performance coaching and everything, I was like, you know, this is a great opportunity to
Right up your
market
alley.
myself. And yeah, so that was part of the reason why I took it was the marketing, the exposure, and kind of just a chance to test myself in an unfamiliar area, right?
We never thought we were doing. So
Yeah. Still is wild to me.
yes.
But there was a lot of good that came from it, right? I got to sponsor or be one of the sponsors for the Sip and Pose modeling mixer
Yeah, yeah. That was fun.
in Jacksonville. That was awesome. I got to meet
That was actually at
so
my work.
many people. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, working with, you know, model coach Chance Gwen, who we mentioned,
Yep. Shout out.
who yeah, who I still love. She's
To
incredible.
this day, still helps us out.
Yeah, she's fantastic and her resume is insane. She is one of very few people who, like, I guess intimidates me is the right word because she really is
She got
just
like that
like
aura of her, right?
she is the subject matter expert, right?
Yes.
And I think part of it for me was that she has that crossover from modeling and bodybuilding because she's actually a head bodybuilding judge as well.
Yeah. She actually judged my off
So
before.
f yeah, so for me, I was like, "She's just got it covered. She's got it all." And but she's incredible and, you know, connecting with genuinely talented people with, like, beautiful visions was just really cool. It's really, really nice to, like, meet so many people who are so aspirational or are, you know, subject matter experts in their field. Like, we met, you know, models, photographers, designers, like, the whole 9.
Influencers that wanted to be models, like, what?
Yeah, there's a couple of those,
There's a lot of those.
and I think currently I would fall into more of that category personally, but
Oh, well, yeah, you do a lot with that. But honestly,
just
maybe
not
moment.
it's just not in the same way, I think, because there are some people who have this air about them as if they're better than other people for some reason, or, like, as if they're, like,
We're
owed
thinking of the
something.
same person right now, and I know
Oh,
we
we
are.
are, we are.
So
He
I
went he
heard
went viral.
about
He
them.
went
Yeah,
viral
yeah.
for that video.
Yeah. My new manager was telling me all about him, actually, and it hit his dude, the stories behind this man are wild.
Jordan told me 1 or 2. Apparently he's because since we're not naming names, apparently he's got a little politician sugar daddy who, funds a lot of his stuff, so the
It makes a
the
lot of
the
sense.
yeah, the gay for pay is still alive and well
Huge.
as the
Yes, it is.
bodybuilding community, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, make it how you make it, man. Make it how you make it.
Hey, to each their own, right? And
That's a fact.
from what I heard too, is it's literally like he doesn't actually do anything with them. It's just he gets paid like $1,000 an hour or something insane to just like hang out. And it's like, okay, well, I got credit card debt, so
What's
things
up?
are life.
I'm a great time to be around, you know?
Yeah, right. But you know, that was what makes some of the later parts of this experience more complicated, right? Is because we did have so many good experiences at the beginning.
Yes.
And
Makes
so
the most
this
sense that.
yeah, and so this episode is not, modeling is bad or anything like that. Like you meet great people, but I will say,
Relationships get blurred.
yeah, yeah.
Wanna jump
Would
right in it?
you we can't. We're almost there. But would you
I'll
have
start at this sense, because remember when you asked me how I got started, right? So, one of the first ever photo shoots I did was with Jordan, and the top of Sip Roof was where we have a rooftop bar where the Sip and Pose was, and he was telling me like, "Hey, I'm thinking of starting an agency." So I had met him right before he created it. He's called the Mixon Method. I was like, "Brother, do that." I was like, "That's cool as fuck." And he's like, "Yeah." And then he told me all the names, and like I remember a couple, maybe I think a month or two later, he's like, "This guy Steven, Joey, Luis, all the guys down in the South in Tampa. He's got people over in California. Shout out Nick King. All these guys who came in together. And then he was our mother agent, right? So for everyone that doesn't know what that is, it is someone that when they get you work, they get the percentage, but they do not always be involved in the grand scheme of what you are doing with your career. And that is where I think the lines got blurred with me. And I think maybe to say it in a nice way, maybe lines got blurred because of our friendship. I don't know if maybe you feel the same way.
so that's part of what hurt me the most with why I finally ended everything with our relationship
Yes.
was because I genuinely thought we were friends. I thought we were
Yes.
homies,
Yeah.
and it didn't carry over. It did not. Something happened. I don't know what, but as far as the modeling thing goes, I realize, you either take the opportunity or you watch someone else take it, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. I love you.
that's what it came down to for me. But yeah, continue as far as
Yeah. So long story short is I do a couple more runways. I do a couple of commercial shoots here and there, still building the portfolio and cool little development. Like I think I might have told you back in the day, I always wanted to do commercials. I wanted to get into acting. I got really lucky to get reached out by a TV show. I'm not gonna say it now because maybe there's a chance next year, But I didn't tell anybody. Ask Steven. Steven didn't know until the beginning of this podcast. I was trying to be very low key about it. The only person who knew was my aunt and the three little girls I live with.
mhm.
And I ended up going out to California for an interview. I did not tell him, Jordan, right? So he's my mother agent. Usually you keep him in the loop. This is one of those things where I felt like personally he didn't need to be in the loop about. I'm post In-N-Out Burger because I'm like, I gotta let some people know I'm getting In-N-Out Burger. I never had it. Fire Burger, get a call, get a text. He wasn't the happiest. I'm in the airport. Mind you, there's a lot of people near me at the bar.
I want to cut in just real quick because it's an important distinction for my understanding of the Mixon method as far as, the contract that I initially signed and everything was
Yes.
that we were non-exclusive.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so
That's very important to us.
he specifically told me that, anything that he helps curate that like he'll take a cut of whatever, but we were perfectly allowed to work with other agencies. We
He
were
wanted
allowed
us
to
to.
go yeah, we were allowed to do our own thing.
He
Um,
wanted us to grow. He said that part. I remember that.
yep, and then he specifically said that, like, if we handle things on our own, like, he doesn't get a part of that. So I think that's an important, preface
Distinction.
to have in there. Yeah.
And
So
maybe add
continue.
in
In-N-Out Burger.
because, yeah. And this is where I'll get to there because I think this is where he got all frustrated. He was worried because of TV show, they could spin you a certain way. Maybe it's a bad image look, right? So that is what was explained to me by other people within the agency after we stopped working together, but I'm going a little too far ahead. So I'm at the airport. I finally give him a call. I explain to him what's going on, but I won't tell him the names of the show. So we have like a back and forth, and both of us are kind of going back and forth. And me and him don't argue, right? We usually have good conversations.
But you were under a non-disclosure
Yes.
agreement with the
Yes. I
with
signed
the
an
company,
NDA
right?
with
Yeah.
literally with them. So he uh, he was not happy. And I literally at one point I was like, you know what? You haven't even said congrats yet. And then he got quiet. And then he's like, you know what? I'm gonna hang up. And I'm like, okay, you're ending the call on me. I was like, and 27 years old, thank God I'm 27 and not 22. I said, okay, cool, gotcha. Talk later. We had a couple words back and forth on text. I get home. I don't hear from him. I thought we had a good phone call a couple weeks later and like hashed it all out. He was still upset I wouldn't tell him about the TV show name. And then, long story short, I get an email saying, "Hey, you are now a freelance model for the next 6 months." But I got a text, "Go look." And he wouldn't text me back. He would just say, "Go look at email." So I was like, okay, this is weird. At first, I was like, damn, because of the friendship. I was like, damn, I was like, you can't even give me a phone call and talk to me about why you want to do this. He just very abruptly ended it. Like, and then I took a second, took a breath, went and talked to my aunt. She's like, dude, like, you have connections now. You understand the basics. If you really want to do this, this may be good for you. Maybe he's challenging you. I was like, cool. Left it. I started doing more social media stuff. I don't know if I'm going too far ahead now. I don't know if you want to.
Nope, you're
No.
good.
Yeah. So I just started doing more social media. I started doing TikTok and stuff because I was trying to get my name and brand out there to do other stuff. I met a guy named Joe Flowers. We stayed in contact for like 6 months. This was before I ended my relationship with Jordan, by the way. So then I ended my relationship with Jordan. A month goes by, 2 months maybe. He's like, dude, are you ready to like fly up here and like meet and talk about future, whatever? So I ended up going up last week and I signed with Joe Flowers. And great. There's so much I could say about him, but I'll keep that quick. Joe Flowers, shout you out, dude. You're awesome from Staten Island. A couple, I don't even know if I should bring this part up, but I had been reached out to that Jordan had been talking negatively on my name and stressing, how do I say this the best way? Stressing to other people to not communicate with me. Mind you, everyone in the group has pretty good relationships with each other. Absolutely
Uh-huh.
no one has beef, and we all pretty much do love each other in a sense. And so a couple people were very caught off guard by that and kind of, what's the best word?
Just uneasy, I think. It was a
Yes,
very,
yeah.
like,
Uneasy about this.
awkward, like because the email that I got, the recent one that I got from him literally told me, like, not to talk to you and to keep any conversations that I had with you to keep them, like, short and, like, brief and, like, all this stuff, and so I replied to him and was basically like, "No, like, Dylan's the homie. I'm
I've talked since
going."
the Miami every week. Like,
Yeah, I was like, "I'm gonna talk to Dylan," and then I was like,
then
"I
he talks about
understand,
moving in
like."
together.
Yeah, I was like, "I understand not, like, giving Dylan, like, insight into anything that's going on inside the Mixon Method," or, like, he said, like, not to take any, like, modeling advice from you and, like, stuff like that, and I was like, I don't really know what advice you could give me, like, that's not the relationship we have." But so basically, I was just like, "Look, like, I can keep my personal and professional relationships
Separate.
personal and professional," you know? And he responded with a, very clear ChatGPT response, basically saying like, "Oh, thank you for making that clarification. Like, I understand that, like, you won't talk to him about XYZ." And I was like, "All right, cool, whatever. So we're fine." And then
He
not 20 minutes later, I open up Facebook or Instagram and I see the video of him talking about professionalism and being non-exclusive, because I mentioned that in the email back to him, being like, "Hey, not for nothing, but I also have a non-exclusive agreement with you. Like, if you've told me to go work with other people if I want to, so I'm a little confused as to, yeah, like what that's you're going against not only what you've told me, but what the contract says." And to back things up on my end from that, from when I signed with Jordan to when I walked for Men's Fashion Week was 4 weeks. So I had 0 modeling experience
went to a
of
runway.
any yeah, of any sort, and which is incredible. So to me, that's awesome, because people know what Men's Fashion Week is, you know?
They do, yeah.
So that was huge for me. But so I went through, a lot of prep, a lot of working with Chance Gwen remotely, and then also I had 2 or 3 in-person sessions with her when I went down to Florida the week before, and again, all paid for out of pocket. But during that time, again, I thought Jordan and I were friends. We had talked about it and, like, we hung out, we went out together. Like, I was like, "Hey, like, you're fucking cool. Like, I could see us being friends even if, there's not a professional relationship there." And he agreed. Like, so I thought that was our relationship. Something
Same.
that I Yeah, something that I overlooked that I definitely should not have is over the course of those 4 weeks, he was calling me regularly, like, unprompted, and was not only just talking about whatever, which is fine, if we're friends, we can call and chat, that's fine,
I want to touch on that too. Yeah,
but he was talking about other models that he had under his roster or, that
too
he was
much.
looking at, and, yeah, it was talking shit. Like, he was
There's no
talking
way
mad shit.
bluntly to say it.
Yeah, like, he was talking about one model and their, drug addictions and
Yep.
things like that, and I was like, "Well, you signed him, like, let him go. Like, what do you mean?" And then he would call and, like, he was just talking about everyone, and, like, I for s like, looking back at it, I'm like, "Steven, you're a little slow in the head for letting that one fucking slip by you."
So
But I think I let the friendship side of
and
things
excitement.
blur out the yeah, and I was excited, and I thought I was doing a good job about, like, all the stuff I was supposed to do, and so, like, I was like, "Oh, I'm good." He's, like, telling me these things so that I know what not to do and, like, stuff like that. It's like a warning or, just like a
Yes.
heads up kinda thing, but,
And the
uh
warnings change from like, not to cut you off, but the warnings change from like warnings to almost like passive aggressive threats. Like, if you do this, I'm going to be upset. And
yeah.
I thought that's just how a manager talks to you. It's not at all.
And see, for me, that was so the situation with you, I was ready to just, let him have an earful and then kinda just continue on. Him posting on social media, clearly talking about the conversations that we just had, was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. Because prior to that, I had to have multiple conversations with him about how to speak to me because
Yeah.
I'm A, a grown ass man, and B, you came to me. I didn't come to you. I didn't want this. I don't need this. I have no issues dropping you like a bad habit, which is essentially what wound up happening because he really, really, really wanted me to get down to Florida as soon as possible to move there so that I could start doing more work in the area and stuff like that, which I wanted too. However, moving costs money.
And
And
the
on
work's not always paid.
and on top of that, I'm on probation. I cannot
Yeah.
legally
Yeah.
leave my county without permission. And so I was like, my probation is technically up in January. And I was like, I'm working on getting off probation early, but even if I get off probation early, like I have to break my lease, I have to find a new apartment, I have to have all the stuff I need for the new apartment, I have to move all my shit down there, including my cats. I
With
don't
no friends or
have my
family
light.
down there.
Yeah, I've got nothing, like, I have to figure everything out. It's gonna be like a good like, I should have 10 to 15 grand in my bank to do that before I do anything.
Yes.
And he got mad at me when I went to Boston because if you remember, the second day for the second show when we were in Miami, I ran into my friend from high school in
Yes.
Starbucks.
Yes. The fighter.
So, yeah, so shout out Joey Guns. We hadn't seen each other since graduating high school, and I'm about to turn 31,
That's yeah.
and
That's wild.
we just happened to be in the same Starbucks in Miami at the same time. So that was us connecting, and then I actually wound up sponsoring him. So, my logo was on his shorts. He came on the podcast, and since it's my first or not UFC, but mixed martial arts fight. Shout out Cage Titans as well,
Yeah.
Plymouth, Massachusetts. But
Good
it
spot
was my
there.
first time. Yeah, it was my first time going to a fight. So I was like, I'm gonna do this right.
Yeah. Excited too.
And yeah, I got cage side tickets, and I brought my dad and my sister
That's it.
to go to the fight with me. Jordan saw it and was like tearing into me about, oh, so the money is not the problem, da 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 da, like probation's not the issue, like all this shit. And I was like, first of all, fuck you. Don't tell me what money I have and what money I don't have. Don't tell me anything about my own shit. I was like, because
Yeah.
you don't know anything. Second of all, those tickets, or at least my ticket and the sponsorship were both tax write-offs for my business because it was sponsored by my business. I also keep my business funds and my personal funds as separate as physically possible. And I told him from the get-go, like, my business comes first. And it always will, because that's
Yep.
what makes me money.
Yes, yes, yes. And
And he just tried to respond with another like chat GPT response of like priorities and all this stuff. And that was almost it right then and there.
yeah. I
And
had a
I had
feeling
to,
when we connected after that that you were not the happiest, but I had just stopped working with him, I think. Or maybe I was still with him, I don't remember. But I was like, I gotta tread lightly here. I don't want to tell Steven what to do. And then he'd be like, leave him. Because me and Jordan have had many arguments, but we'd always come to a resolution.
right. And that was kind of the case. And even like, again, with your situation, even when he was involving everyone else,
Oh my
I
God,
was,
everybody. The mother was,
and it was weird because he didn't do that when Joey left. And he really didn't even say much when one of his models got caught touching little kids. So
oh man, that's a great fucking point.
that's another one. So you were more upset that a model was working with another agency now than you were that one of your close friends fucking diddles kids.
And it was wild because I thought there was a part that was like, maybe he actually did want me to like really go push myself for 6 months and like go like whatever to balls to the wall. And because like right before he dropped me, or I guess you can just call it like that, he got me signed with a thing called Professional Pretty. I
Mhm.
haven't worked with them yet, but it's a commercial agency in Orlando or Tampa. And I was like, okay, like he did this, but then he dropped me. Like maybe this is like him just trying to challenge me or something. But I literally, the last thing I said to him was, hey, I know you personally. I know you do like to gossip. I was like, do not talk shit about me, please. I was like, we did have a pretty good relationship. I've given you a lot of advice. You've given me advice. Let's not blur those lines. And like, honestly, because like you could drop me, whatever, I could still see you and shake your hand. A week later, I got a screenshot from someone. Couple, maybe a month or two later, I got another screenshot. So I text him. I was like, dude, you're talking shit. He's like, I have never talked about you. I said, okay. That's all I said. I was like, okay. And
Yeah, he
personally, I've
told me.
worked with him again. But to just maybe say something positive, the dude's bright. He knows how to train models. He has insight to the modeling world. I'm not gonna act like I know more than him, but I personally would never work with him again.
Yeah, I'm not. I would love to continue working with Chance. Chance is amazing.
Yes, yes. Two separate entities.
But I will say I did not send the most professional text message to him when I stopped working with him.
Yeah.
It started off professional and very, very like, just, I don't want to continue this relationship. I don't see it benefiting either one of us. And then I was like, you know what? No, you deserve to hear this. And I was like, honestly, I think you're a coward. And I think gossip like a high school girl and you're 40 years old. So what are we doing? And again, he just responded with a chat GPT response. So it is what it is. Whatever.
It
But
worked out,
he doesn't
right? This is like, I guess this
work
is
out
his
for
range.
us.
Yeah. And who knows what happens down the road in 10 years? I don't know, right? But
And realistically, if we work in, because I would love to do another, Florida Men's Fashion Week or a Swim Week or like Art Basel, like something like that. Because even I got asked by a couple designers and stuff to go down for Swim Week
oh, that would have been great.
after Fashion Week, and I didn't have the funds or the time to get down there. And then
I
watching
remember you
everyone
telling
else
me
do
that
it,
actually. I remember you telling me that.
yeah, and then watching everyone else do it is really when the FOMO hit, and I was like, I want to be there.
That's the tough part. That's and like again, to any kids out there that want to model, as soon as you get past 18, you're on your own, right? Because like after that, they sometimes have to supply certain help, or they just won't have you if you have your parents. But runway is kind of expensive if
Yeah.
you're not getting paid to do it or asked personally. And because of the TV show, I had a couple swim week opportunities right after Fort Lauderdale Fashion Week. It was like 4 shows. and they were like 2, 1 combined. It would have been like 6 or 7 walks total. I was like, "This is sick." 'Cause I told him the goal of mine was Miami Swim Week. Couldn't go because I thought I was leaving, right? So I played it safe. Now is
Yep.
that opportunity there maybe next year? Who knows? We'll see what happens, but it's Runway is only good for connections.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? Is like I'll just get jacked and I'll just enter myself for whatever, all of it.
You still have and you still have
And
everything else.
yeah, and especially like what is it? Like all the connections that I've made. Like I did my first runway ever. I walked for like 4 or 5 designers, which is sick because there was some people that got sent home,
I thought you
which
did
I
more
think
than that, right?
no, it was only 4 or 5. I think it was 2 the first day and then 3 the next day.
And you walked with the closing act.
I did. Yeah, I closed with one.
Yes.
He was what is it? The Room
Yeah.
collection. His stuff is sick, dude. Like that
Yeah.
outfit that I was in, the full black. I would have worn that in real life. If I was up in
Yep.
New York instead of being down in Miami where it was hot as balls, I would
Uh,
have worn that. Absolutely. I wanna go see his store actually in Miami.
so I didn't know you had a
The
store.
Yeah, he invited me to go see it when after I walked for him, and it was just my flight was the next day, you know, so I couldn't make it. But I would love to go see like what he's actually got available, you know? No, I'm sure I can't afford any of it, but that's a different story.
Yeah. That's not our budget yet.
As far as the runway goes though, like do you feel like yourself out there or do you feel like, you know, a
So
version of yourself?
it's funny you said that. So the Fort Lauderdale runway was the next big one I did, and a bigger event, and same level. And this one was totally different. We had like 2, just maybe sometimes 3 pose spots. So like I was training, I presume with Chance, and I know you can't see, but I have like just a little driveway right here. I would just walk up and down that driveway practicing. And now I feel really, really comfortable. Like my favorite look was this big white jacket by shout out Steven.
I
Super
saw
cool
that.
stance now. Yeah. Bro, that
I think
jacket,
a lot of people like that.
yeah, I think that to this day is my best look in runway. And he put me in like these braids. He's like, do you used to wear braids? He's like, you look mixed. I was like, I am. Yeah, I'll go put them in right now. And luckily, one of the hairstylists was like, dude, I got you. Put me in the braids. He came back perfect. Walked in that white jacket. I didn't want to take it off. The whole
Dude,
collection was sick itself, but that
it's so funny. You are one of those people, like, your look can be so diverse.
appreciate that.
Because I mean, even again, even just throwing in the braids and you look like a completely different person. You know what
Total
I
different
mean?
human.
Like,
Yeah.
you just change your ethnicity with a haircut is basically what happens.
Shout out my pops, man. Throwing in for the look.
Oh, and that was a running joke that we had when we were in Miami together was that we were
Yes.
half brothers because
We
I
told some people that,
have
didn't we?
yeah, I have 4 half brothers and a half sister, and then you've
We just
got a
added
little
one.
family of yourself, right?
Yeah, yeah. I got 3 brothers and 1 half sister.
Yeah. So we were like, we'll just tell people that we have like the same mom.
Yeah. Our mom's white, you
Because
know?
yeah, our mom's white. My dad's white, his dad's not.
Yeah. He's got Tanner dad.
But you know, what did you learn from performing or about performing under pressure that you use now?
So it's cool, like, and I think I'm gonna use this a lot because I'm trying to get into commercial or acting. Lights and cameras don't bother me. I don't really get the sweaty feeling. Now, I haven't done anything like Vogue or like huge, but I do think to the point of the walk, I'm not as nervous. Like I remember in Miami, on my first ever walk, I was the front at first in these gold shorts. You were like a couple people behind me, right?
Yeah, I can't remember if I was right behind you or if I was like 1 or 2 behind you.
Yeah, you were like right there. And I zoned out so hard, so hard. But now, like in Fort Lauderdale, like I literally pre-stepped everything. And like, again, being around like really cool people in the industry and like people teach you little tricks like walking the runway beforehand, like having someone judge you. That's another model while you practice walks,
Dude,
you know?
I slipped on
You
my first
did.
walk. I
I
forgot
remember
about
I
that
came out and you slipped as I was coming out and you were like, I just caught myself up.
because the
That
way they
was
had it set up and I was barefoot. I hadn't practiced walking barefoot for some reason. I was always practicing in shoes, and it is a completely different feeling.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, I mean, the backstage nerves are real. Like, there's just something, it's very exciting when you're back there. Like, everything's moving, like, everyone's talking, everyone's like watching on the big screen, like watching everyone else walk and everything.
Mhm.
And like when you're standing there, like waiting for your turn, especially as they're like pacing it out, because there's the, producer or like assistant producer sitting there, like, all right, go, all right, go, all
Go.
right, go. And so, like, you're waiting for your turn and like you feel that heartbeat in your chest and you're like, shit. But
Didn't
then,
breathe.
yeah, the second that you take that first step out though, it just kind of
Goes away.
melts away. Yeah. And you're just in it. You're just doing what you're out there to do.
No one's perfect too. Like I literally remember like my last walk of that first ever runway. I tried to do some type of pose where I pulled the shirt down and like give like a smirk. And all none of them wanted us to smirk, but the guy said smirk. And I came back and Luis was like, "Were you nervous?" I was like, "No, no, no." He's like, "You look nervous as shit." I was like, "Fuck." I was like, "All right."
It was just the choice of a pose.
Yeah, it's a
I don't
bad
remember that
pose.
either. So,
Thank
but
God.
yeah, I think it was because the way they had it set up is we walked outside first and then back inside, and there was, like, puddles and shit outside, so we walked through the puddles barefoot and then
Yep.
stepped onto, like, this, like, smooth concrete
Yeah.
floor inside, stepping up and into it, and that threw me off so bad. For the rest of my walk, I was, like, just thinking about the fact that my feet were wet and I was gonna slip and fall.
And I don't know how you feel about runway, but like if I do more or get asked to do more, right? Because that's the goal is to get asked. I want it to be like a fun time. Like it has to be something I want to do on the side because it doesn't do much for you personally.
Yeah, I agree, I agree. It's definitely something I would like to do. I do wanna kind of explore a little bit more as far as, like Art Basel and stuff like that, like, do
Yeah.
some more fun things like that. And then, obviously, like, with my physique, I'm fairly easily marketed for swim week.
So yeah, you
But at the same time, I don't wanna be in just, like, a thong, like, every time I go out on stage. Like, I would like to get into like the more fashion side of things and doing like men's suits and stuff like that, but I'm too big for a lot of it, as
I think
my
for you, you'll
measurements,
just be dropping weight and gaining weight a lot.
which I don't want to do. So we'll
Yeah.
see what
Yeah. Yeah.
happens. I'm just gonna be jacked. And that was another thing was, after getting signed with Jordan, like he came to me for my look, right? Part of it was he was saying that you have this very like, he was telling me that I have a very aspirational look and, like, a heroic physique and, like, all that stuff,
Yes.
and then after being with him, he was telling me, like, not to grow my shoulders anymore and, like, not to get any bigger, and I was like, "That's not
That
who I am." So, I was like, "I'm actually gonna do whatever I want."
you'd like it would have been different if you came to him asking for advice about how to do this or this, but he asked you for your look because you are a in terms, I guess, the fitness model ideal, right? Like you have that ideal look for a fitness model. Someone like Young LA or commercial print or stuff like that would be like they would love your look.
Yeah,
You're
I think
not
I could
doing
definitely
willy
get
nilly.
into I
Yeah.
think I might be more editorial, as far as, like, the fashion side of things goes. But, you know, I wanna dig into this side of things a little bit because everyone backstage is kind of in the same boat, right?
Yeah.
Everyone looks confident, is freaking out about one thing or another 'cause again, nothing goes 100% to plan. People are running around trying to get hair and makeup done. People are trying to figure out what outfits they're in. People can't find their designer. People can't find their agent. People can't find
Yeah.
their bag that they put down. Like,
Ours get towed. Like
yeah. Oh, man, that was funny.
that
But,
was interesting.
what would you say is the difference between the confidence that you perform with and
Yeah.
the confidence that you actually have?
So you know what's funny? I was more nervous the first day I had a group full of students. And from that type of confidence, because like I taught financial literacy in PE. PE is PE. That is easy, and you are teaching sports or the health. And but for financial literacy, like I got to give these kids real world advice on financials. and I'm someone who's still figuring out my financials. So a lot of my class is built around my life with, but also like with like a sheet for guidance. So I built that out, and I remember the first day they came in, and I'm like, I already been coaching there 3 years. I was like, fuck. I was like, are they gonna take me serious? Like, do I raise my voice? Do I not raise my voice? Modeling, it was just like I got to relax and chill. Backstage was fun. Besides walking out for that first couple of times, 'cause I'm pretty sure you felt the same thing. After the first or second walk, you're like, I got
Mhm.
it. Like, I got it.
Yeah. Well, especially with the runway that we did together, with it being more of that European style and not really
Yeah.
having to pose so much. You didn't have to change up a whole lot, depending on, what outfits you were in, obviously, because you
Yeah.
still wanna present the best package for what you're wearing.
And posing is fun. I learned because it was the Fort Lauderdale one. The outfits like make you.
Mhm.
So you can use it like I remember with the white jacket, all I do is a fluff up or open the side. But that's a pose. So like that worked. That's
Yeah,
fun. European
yeah,
is
and I think I'm a huge overthinker, so that's part of it for me, but I would agree is that I think I was less nervous doing all that stuff than I was like, when I was in the Marine Corps, my job was teaching, actually.
oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I taught Marines, A, how to shoot, but I also taught them how to operate and identify, potentially contaminated environments.
Damn, that's
So,
cool. So I didn't know that.
yeah, so I was a chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear defense specialist.
That's what's up. My God.
Yeah,
That's what's up.
it's a fucking mouthful, but,
That's a great resume builder there, huh?
I've got hazmat certifications and stuff, it's pretty cool, but, yeah, part of that, though, is, like, you're standing in front of bleachers full of Marines who are either all your peers or all outrank you, and you're the subject matter expert, so you're the one running things, you're the one running the course, like, you still have to tell people, like, "Pay attention, stand up, sit down," whatever it is, and
That's wild too.
especially being new, like, you could be, like, a private first class and have to tell some sergeant to fucking wake up. Like, it's something.
That'll make you
But
ready for any runway.
which I think, honestly, I think it might have, but it was very interesting being around that many, good-looking and ambitious people,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and,
What?
like, everyone or most of the people backstage anyway are all super cool. Like, any
Yeah, I didn't really meet any bad people.
yeah, any connections that I had or still have, like, I'm very grateful for all of the people that I met. There was definitely 1 or 2 people back there that I was like, "You're so full of yourself," like,
Yeah, and I've
but
been down to Miami a couple times in like West Palm and stuff, and like it's there. It is there. But I think when people, because you're a genuine person, and like in general, I think I like to consider myself one too. People pick up on it, and like once they feel like you're not fake, they open up really quick.
mhm, and
So
I
I think
did
that's
notice that. It's like, it
yeah.
does feel like people have almost like a wall a little bit of like, "Alright, who is this person?"
I felt
And
the
then
wall a lot in Miami. Fort Lauderdale was it was funny because Fort Lauderdale was like we all went to the wrong building the first day, and then we didn't know where to go, like a big group of us. And then we all found the building together, like broke the ice. So it was funny.
I mean, that's a good way to do it. So, if the runway had gone badly, do you think it would've changed, like, how you see it?
You know what's funny? Like, I don't know, but I'm glad it did because it made me want to keep modeling. And I will say this, it is kind of like an offshoot. Doing the runway and being around so many pretty people, I didn't realize I was an attractive guy. I always thought I got girls. Yes, yes. Remember, we had this conversation. I thought it was because I had a good personality, but I'd always been called handsome or whatever. But like, I realized I'm a pretty attractive guy. You too. So it made me realize I'm gonna attempt this. Everyone that does models, like, I'm gonna push and attempt this, but like now I'm really trying to attempt this. Like I'm trying
Yeah.
to work, trying to go fly out and shoot with people, like all that type of shit.
And I remember there was one kid there who, like, it was his first time too, and I was just talking to him outside, whatever, and I was like, "How old are you?" And he was, like, 17, and
Yes, I remember that kid.
I was like, "Dude, if you lock in right now."
You're good.
I was like, "I'm 30, I'm just starting," like, you've got so much potential, it's crazy. But there was a lot of, like, camaraderie that I think the Mixon Method, I will credit them with that, is
Yeah.
the people that Jordan brought together and brought to, the runway. We were the ones breaking the ice, it seemed like. We were the ones kinda, like, talking to people, bringing everyone together, like, there was a lot of camaraderie going on, and there was a lot of first-time models and first-time walkers and stuff, and I remember we were outside and, like, helping people with their walk, like, go down and forth, and I remember, like, Shiva was out there, he was one of
Yeah. Shiva, he was at Fort Lauderdale. He great, love Shiva to death.
I love Shiva, he's awesome. But they were dude, it is just a completely different environment. I really don't think you can explain it to someone who hasn't experienced it.
Yes. Yes. It's like a weird high. It's like a natural high. And I had not felt that type of high in like a year because of no football.
Yeah,
I
and
played
then
college
so
football and I was like needed that.
that come down for me was tough, dude, after coming back from, Florida and all that, because I came back up to northern fucking New York, and in November and December, dude, I got off the plane and it was, like, sleet outside, just, like, slushy and, like, freezing rain and dark, and I was like, "This sucks."
Take me home.
Dude, I couldn't get off the couch for, like, weeks after that. I was like, "This is just awful." I was like, "I don't wanna be here." So I think that's part of it that no one really talks about, the show ends, the lights go off, and then you fly home. What was the week after Miami like for you? Because it's
So
November, you gotta go back to school, right?
I was thankful for that, and I think the difference is, like, I had a bunch of people asking me about it, saying congrats or like, "Yo, how was that?" or X, Y, and Z. You just went back up to upstate New York with the Amish. Like,
Yeah, I literally went back to nothing. I just came back up
yeah.
here and was
So
just
when
by
you do
myself.
get to experience it again, I promise you, like, whether it's down here or wherever you're living, like, it will be better when you have that core group of people around you. And, like, it makes it better. Like, support system is everything.
Well, we're talking about the possibility of us living together. I think
Yeah,
that would
we
be
talked about
awesome.
that. Yeah,
Uh,
and I love Jacksonville, and I will say this, Jacksonville is not the biggest epicenter for modeling. It's not, but
no, you can go down to, like,
everything's around it.
Boca,
Everything's around it.
Miami, and
Yeah.
I mean, I
Hit it
live
with
up
a
here.
local
I could
doctors.
go to Manhattan, like
Yes. My plan in the future is I'm probably gonna be going up to New York a lot, so
well, that was another thing that I think Jordan didn't really understand is he was trying to set me up with a bunch of stuff in Manhattan, and I was like, again, like, I don't drive right now, so I was like, "That's a 13-hour bus ride, multiple buses that I have to get on to
yes, the
just get
Greyhound is
there."
rough.
Yeah, and then I have to, pay for a hotel in Manhattan, and then I have to do it again on the way back, so it's a full 2-day thing and
More than
literally
that, yeah,
24 hours. Yeah, literally 24 hours of just traveling. And
and
I
you
was like, "And you
push those goats
expect me
after
to
the
show up." Yeah, and you expect me to show up looking good? Like,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I think that's awesome that you had that. Did anything about regular life, feel different after
Yeah,
Miami, or was it just
it's like
kinda
that mini clout. And I was like, "Oh, this is what, like." Now imagine this, like, on the big stage. Like, that's, like, real clout. I'm like, "Okay, maybe I like." I had to check myself and make sure I wasn't chasing just the high, and I actually had goals with it. 'Cause, like, I'm trying to do so many other things, like, I'm trying to be a counselor, I'm trying to, like, finish grad school, trying to do this pressure washing thing, and, like, I can't be a good coach if I'm chasing. So, like, I'm not gonna be coaching next year, taking a year off, for a bunch of reasons, but I can't be half locked in with these kids, right, that need guidance when I'm more worried
Yeah,
about my own career. I just don't see how a coach can do it, you know? It's not middle school.
right. And that's part of it for me is, like, growing my business. The one of the big goals for me is, like, starting a nonprofit,
Oh,
uh,
so
you know, in my friend's name to help kids who have lost a parent to suicide. Like, that is my fucking line.
gold, of
That is where I'm going. So that will always come first, right? Like, that's never really gonna get put to the side
course.
unless I think it's something that will help me get to that point. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
And what I could to a point, you know, maybe meet the right connections.
Yeah, and I met so many connections, like, and you've seen me in person, fucking, in
You
the way
when
I
you're
work a
working,
room.
you working, yeah. It's
I
easy
will
for you.
work a room. Honestly, dude, I've got a bunch more to talk about here in my notes. I've got, your life as a teacher.
Oh, yeah.
I've got, the nightlife and what it teaches you about people, and, balancing multiple identities and ambition, talking about what's next for you, entering the modeling industry as a newcomer and everything, expectations and reality with representation,
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff. And we've already been talking for a little over an hour, and
Mhm.
I know you've got some stuff coming up soon. So I think we might have to just
Part
cut this
2.
into a part two. Yeah.
I think we could get this to a couple parts. I like this, man.
Yeah, I think we could do this again for sure. Do you have any last words or feelings that you would like to share for the people listening?
If you want a sick ass podcast to come on to, hit up Steven, EHC on Instagram. But, no, man, I honestly, like, I miss you, so I'm glad that we get to connect this way. Like, it sucks when you're all the way up there and I'm all the way down here, but, like, honestly, it'll just make it better for when you do finally come down here, probably, right? Like, that's probably where it's headed.
Yeah, Jacksonville is still where I'm looking. Realistically, it's super affordable. Like, if I'm comparing prices to where I'm living at now, like, I'm in a 500 square foot apartment that I'm paying 1,200 bucks a month for, not including like electricity or anything.
Yeah.
So
So it's like
it's
there's some really good places down here to live.
yeah, yeah. And if I'm gonna fucking be somewhere, I want to be by a beach at least.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yo, bro, and you're gonna love it. I can't wait that's for beef, bro.
I need a tan. Let me tell you.
Yeah, right? I'm saying.
I don't really tan. I get freckles. I get like a nice pinkish hue, but
I'm telling you, when you come down here, you're gonna like it's really easy to make connections in Jacksonville. It feels like everyone knows each other. You're gonna get known real quick.
I'm down for it. But, let's land this thing. If you take one thing from this episode, take this. The same self-respect that gets you onto a runway is the self-respect that tells you when to walk off of one.
That is a fucking great. Yeah.
Dylan
Yep.
was released. I chose to leave. Neither of those endings define either one of us because, being released, rejected, underestimated, says maybe where you were or where someone else was, but it has nothing to do with where you're going. What defines you is the standard that you carry into the room with you. All right. It has nothing to do with anyone else's word. So, Dylan, thank you, brother, for picking me up in Miami. And then also
Always.
coming on. We've been trying, for anyone that doesn't know, we've been trying to get this
You want a little
episode
visitor
locked
real
in.
quick? Watch
Let's get
this
a
real quick.
visitor. Let's get a visitor. You bring in one, I'll bring in one.
Come here. We'll touch him. I won't touch him, but come say hi. Natalia's got the elf. Oh, look at that. That's my buddy Steven. What's the cast name?
Hi, this is Reese.
Uh,
But, Dylan, thanks for being here, man. Everybody go follow Dylan on Instagram at DYLAN.BENTLEY dot
mhm.
GANSERT.
This thing.
We're gonna have to shrink that at some point. But
Everyone tells me I gotta.
I'll drop the link in the description. If you want anything more from me, everything lives at EHC_Steven on Instagram. Coaching, this podcast, my community, all the links are right there in the bio. And if this episode hit home, if you're rebuilding after a setback, or if you're just done tolerating what you've been tolerating, DM me the word unfiltered and I'll set you up with an exclusive coaching deal just for listening to this episode. But this has been EHC Unfiltered. Stay sharp, stay honest, and stay unfiltered. We will see you next time. Dylan, say goodbye.
See you guys. See you next time for part 2.